I mean, what's the reason you have to give to try to recall somebody? And what we can see now that it's playing out live is that you really don't need to give much of a reason at all. You can simply not like somebody and start a recall petition.
If we don't show the government that we care enough, then they're just going to walk on all over us for the next 100 years, because they know with the amount of resources and volunteers we have that this is going to be impossible if we don't get out and get our voice heard. And believe it or not, this petition is going to be heard right across North America.
Yeah. Well, Adam Soos here for Rebel News. Very happy to be joined by Landon Johnston, the individual who started the Recall Gondek petition. Historically unpopular mayor. People upset with her for a variety of reasons, whether it be increasing taxes, giving herself raises, canceling fireworks, botching arena deals, defunding the police. The list goes on and on and on. You're about halfway through the sort of time frame that you have to collect signatures, hoping for 514,000, I believe it is, by April 4th. Is that correct?
Yeah, April 4th, they have to be handed in, but we're asking people to drop off or bring any petitions they have well before then. March 30th is kind of the deadline we're trying to tell people. We just don't want to be running around collecting signatures on the last day, so... yeah.
And do you have an idea? Obviously, it's like a multi-pronged effort, but do you have an idea of the total amount of signatures you're at now, roughly?
There's an estimated amount we have just based off of a bunch of factors.
Yeah.
So it's unofficially, it's going to be around 100,000, if not quite a bit more.
It came as a surprise, and I wouldn't be human if I didn't say, it stings a little bit.
But I mean, as for official means it's been notarized and commissioned and in my hand. So there are a lot of petitions out there that are completed that we just haven't been able to get yet. So I mean, unofficially, over 100,000. Officially, it's going to be, we're still counting them every single day. So, it's going to be, officially, it's going to be between 50 and 70,000 in our hands right now. But then, like I said, there's so many reported that we just haven't been able to collect yet. So
Now, I believe Mayor Jyoti Gondek received something like 176,000 votes in the election. There's a possibility with everything out there that total's already been surpassed. Premier Danielle Smith weighing in, saying this 500,000 plus goal is a daunting task. Are there sort of thresholds of hope here? Like if more people signed for her to be recalled than voted for her, does that mean something, or is this sort of an all or nothing? If you don't reach the goal, it's disappointing?
Well, that was a couple of questions there.
Yeah.
Is Danielle Smith has the power to lower the threshold.
We have made the bar 40% of total population. So if you think about that, in a city like Calgary, that means that for a successful campaign to proceed, it would need 500,000 signatures. And I believe the mayor got 177,000 signatures in the general election. So look, if 3 times the number of people who voted for a person say that they want to reconsider it, then that seems to be a pretty strong expression of democracy. But it does give you an indication of just how high the bar actually is. And when I say we may have set it too high, is that it seems a little unfair that you'd have to have a petition campaign that would include everyone under the age of 18, people who are not eligible to vote because they're not citizens. It seems like a more reasonable approach would be to do 40% of the electorate.
The minister, I've been trying to get a hold of him for a month and a half now. I've got pages and pages of obstacles that we faced during this petition process. And my goal was always to get the mayor to either resign or get enough signatures for her to be fired. But the second thing about this was to get the petition process exposed for what it is. And that's absolutely ridiculous. So if anyone knows of Rick MacGyver and how I can get a hold of him, I've been trying to get a hold of anybody in that office for a very, very, very long time, because they have the ability to change the process at any given time. So, but regardless of that, we are going to try to get as many signatures as we can, and we're just going to put a lot of pressure on the mayor to resign. Now, if let's say we did this and we only got 10,000 signatures, well, that just solidifies the mayor's position as a good mayor, right? Now, if we get over 176,000, that starts putting pressure on her, thinking, okay, well, 400,000 people voted in the last election, and I only got 176,000 votes. That puts pressure on her to really think about, is she the right person? still the right person for this job. So, I mean, if we can hit 200,000 signatures before my meeting with her, then I'm going to bring those signatures to her and we'll just have a serious conversation. And if she really cares about this city, then, maybe the best thing for her to do is resign.
Now, if those restrictions or those limitations, the counts you have to reach to achieve a recall were to be changed, could those affect the current petition, or would they simply be going forward?
Oh, 1,000. Well, I mean, I think that Danielle Smith said she's not going to change it for this petition, but that is one of the obstacles because of the daunting task that we have. A lot of people see that it's useless, right? They think, okay, well, we're never going to hit that many, so what's the point of doing it? And that's been the answer to a lot of people when I ask if they want to sign the petition. They say, well, we like the mayor, but you're never going to hit your number, so there's no point me even putting my name down, right? So if it were to have been changed beforehand or now, that would set off a huge swath of people who did want to sign it, but really were skeptical of if it would do anything with not enough signatures. So yeah, if she were to change it right now, we would have a new goal, I guess, right? Like if it was 40% of the voting population, that's somewhat doable. If they had made it to what the select committee had proposed to them, which I think was 35% of the population, or I think it was 25 to 35% of the population, then that's possible. This is the least favorable mayor in the history of Calgary that I can find. And if it's not possible with her, then it won't be possible with the next mayor if he's 10% favorable or 0% favorable. And they basically just solidifies that any elected official can just do whatever the heck they want and know that they're not ever going to be held accountable for it, right? And that's all this is. This is a job performance review for elected officials. And right now, like with the support we've been getting, it's very clear that this mayor is not doing what a big majority of Calgary wants her to do, right?
One final question for you. This deadline is closing up. By the time people are watching this, there's probably going to be 20 days. What can people do and how can people get involved if they want to see as many signatures as possible?
There are a lot of people on the fence about this. A lot of people who tell me they don't like the mayor, but they just don't want to sign it. And I'm starting to think those are a lot of the same people who don't vote, and because they don't think their vote matters. I mean, a month and a half ago, my voice didn't matter. I just screamed loud enough that people heard me. But I mean, this petition process it's a vote that can make a huge impact because it lets all elected officials, whether it's Danielle Smith, Rachel Notley, Nenshi, Trudeau, anybody that's potentially gonna be an elected official, this puts them on notice, right? This to me should be a bipartisan issue. I've got my own opinions about a lot of things, but to make this process easier for everybody means that the next person in power, whether you agree with them or not, will be able to be held accountable, right? So if you're on the fence about it, right, if we don't show the government that we care enough, then they're just going to walk on all over us for the next 100 years because they know with the amount of resources and volunteers we have that this is going to be impossible if we don't get out and get our voice heard. And believe it or not, this petition is going to be heard right across North America. And
so if folks are interested, if they want to sign, if they want to volunteer, or read your hat, recallmayorgondek.com, is that the spot to go?
Yeah, and we'll have, today we're doing a volunteer door knocking. I think we've had about 10, 20 people here so far, which is pretty awesome. And we're just going to start hitting neighborhoods right across the city, hopefully get to your neighborhood. And I mean, if you want to sign it, but you're unsure if it'll do something, just sign it anyways, because, I'm going to make sure it does something, whether that's we get the mayor to resign or if it's to get the process changed and show that we put a big effort into letting the government know that we care about our tax dollars. We care about what happens to us. So,
awesome. Well, it's Landon Johnston, the individual who started the petition to recall the wildly unpopular mayor, G.O.T. Gondek. Thanks so much for your time. And everyone at home, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. For Rebel News, I'm Adam Soos. The rule of law has gone by the wayside in many major cities across Canada, and law-abiding citizens quite simply don't feel safe in major cities. If you are sick of soft-on-crime politicians creating chaos in urban centers, sign our petition at fixourcities.com.